Good morning. One more belief shower before I actually begin. And never too many belief showers in my opinion. I think I got a lot on my hair today. So I'm going to breathe in that believe. And as we begin to get started, I'm going to mention, I'm going to do some bowls as usual, and then we will get started doing a few other things. But happy, happy, happy day. And just use whatever oils that you have brought for your special oils today. And just breathe in these frequencies. And it's almost the top of the hour. So, how has your week been? Have you had a really happy week? Has it been an interesting week? What's going on and how much attention did you pay? Well, when the title for today came up, What's Flowing Through You? It gave me an entirely different perception or a different perspective for looking at the way that I interact with energy. So just sit back for a minute. It's kind of interesting because the card that I drew for this particular video, I always do take time to select my rainbow healing cards for focus. I select them several times during the day, whether it's on the app, which you all can have, or my actual cards. But today, I was a little surprised in some ways to see the air element come up. And the air element is all about clarity, about the flow of energy, the flow of air that will bring in new ideas, new frequencies, and blow away the things that are not helpful to us. So this, just for the record, for those who are not really familiar with our journey of the glyphs, the second glyph is anchored by the energy, the frequencies of lavender. And the eighth glyph, which is the divine union, the integration, the reweaving of self, is by Jasmin. But the combination of these frequencies flowing in and flowing out. Well, this got me to thinking again. You know, Francis has this weird way of looking at things. And often I have thought of what external things are doing to me because I allow them to come into my field. And that's one way of looking at them. And thinking of what I might be losing if I give my energy to something that is not necessarily moving me forward. So that is one way of looking. But this week I thought of another way, which may trigger something in you, and that is the key. What it triggers, what words or frequencies or sounds trigger something in you so that your understanding is greater, is what it's all about. And I thought, it's really about, it's like eating. When we eat, we don't eat one time and then it's over forever. We constantly eat, and what we eat, we're bringing these frequencies of the food into our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual being. We're bringing that energy, those frequencies in. But what happens to them? Do they just flow through? Do they just stay there? No, they don't. Our body interacts with them. It's just like applying an essential oil that has all of these beautiful high frequencies. Our body will digest the food. And then what happens? It eliminates the things that are not the most helpful. So sometimes as energies come in that make us feel unsettled, they're really the perfect thing for us to be processing at that time. They will allow us to actually change, for our frequencies to change in a either more positive or less positive. Nothing ever stays the same. Frequencies are going up and down all the time. Energy is moving. It's kinetic. It is not static. So as the energy comes in, what you're doing with it, what you're allowing, is going to be very important. And it is merely a question of awareness. So I have right here my clarity blend, and that's one of those things. This is to help us gain clarity. We go through life and we think we learned something. Trust me, I'm there. I'm with you on this. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. And we learned something, and we kind of put blinders on, or at least I did my whole life, because I would learn something and it was filed away in my brain. In fact, a lot of my friends one of my friends in particular laughs every time I attempt to get the date, the exact date, because apparently my way of filing memories in my brain is by date. Some people file them in different ways, I'm sure, but the date is important to me because then I pull out the file. So how we process that can be unique to us, and processing these frequencies that are coming in, thinking of them as this is a flow. It's not something we can attach an adjective of good or bad to. It just is. And it's how we pay attention in that present moment. So I decided that present time, I've used a lot of this recently, and this has become one of my favorite oils to carry with me, because present time, to remind me to stay in this present moment. What is coming in? What am I doing with what's coming in? Is it enhancing my frequency? Life is about frequency. We've talked about frequency for the last 2 or 3 or 4 months. I don't know. It seems like a long time. And it will continue. We will continue to talk about frequencies, because that is what it's all about. It's about maintaining our frequency so that if this is that wellness, that neutral frequency, to maintain it up here rather than down here. Stephen has a way that he loves to talk about what's up here as being the star energy, and what's down here is coarse, like coarse frequencies, coarse sand, things that are not refined. So what is flowing through you as this, if it's a very high frequency coming in, or as he says, a star energy, what are you doing to process this energy? Is this energy refining every cell in your body, every molecule, every atom in your body? Is it affecting positively? Well, these high frequencies will have the effect of positivity. The more coarse frequencies are going to have the ability to drag you to a lower one. However, we may require dipping down into those lower ones and getting that balance to bring us back to that balance point, or hopefully if we're up here in these higher frequencies where eventually the thought is that we may be able to live up there, and those lower frequencies, even though they're flowing in and flowing out, we will process them, and what we allow to go out affecting others, because everything that goes out from us does have an effect on the overall. Every single one of us affects what goes on with others. So these external stimuli, okay, things that are coming out. Well, what things can we do to enhance that? Of course, breathing is going to be that helpful, really helpful thing. And paying attention. One of my good friends, or several of my friends, have just in Singapore signed up and started taking a watercolor course. None of these were artists previously, which I can identify readily with because I've never been an artist in any way, shape, or form. However, one of them, Faith, posted something which really triggered in me another way of thinking, because watercolor is all about the illusion. It's not about little details, focusing on little details. It's that illusion, that flow. And what happens as the person who's viewing that watercolor painting, they have an experience. And the experience is there partly because of the colors, because colors, every color has a frequency. And as you are working with something, whether you're an artist or not, and I am not, I openly admit, as we are playing with these frequencies, these colors, they are actually affecting every single atom in our body. So what colors do you surround yourself with? Think about it. How do you feel when you experience certain colors? We're all different, and we experience color differently. Some of us are even what has been labeled as colorblind. Who knows how differently we're all experiencing color. However, we each one, by paying attention, can begin to understand how those colors are affecting us. And when we begin to understand and feel the difference, we will choose to surround ourselves with those happy colors, things that make us feel good, things that make us feel comfortable, things that just enrich our lives and allow us to be up here in that star energy and to radiate star energy outward. Since that frequency, remember, they're constantly coming in, constantly going out, and we change what's coming in to whatever is required by us. Isn't that exciting? Does that excite you as much as it does me? In any event, it's just constantly changing. So the big deal thing is that we need to be aware. We need to awaken ourselves. Say, wake up, look. This is not something that happens one time. We don't put on our armor, our shields one time a day, because every single breath is different. So it's just about how we're going to pay better, closer attention. So the next things that kept coming up for me was the first glyph and I have them all down here on my desk, of course, the sixth one. What is the first glyph all about? It is the forgiveness glyph. It is that warm pink energy, if you like visualizing that. It's about unclogging, getting rid of the blocks. And I love to think of it as, a clogged drain, that attempting to pour more water through the clogged drain will not work. So it's about unblocking, which is the frequency of, geranium essential oil. It's also the energy anchored by rhodochrosite. And I'm going to tell you something interesting about that. Or it's interesting to me. To me, it's fascinating. Lots of things fascinate me that are probably strange to others. So the other card that kept coming up, and the other color, now this one, remember, is warm pink, is the acceptance, to embrace who we are, embrace who others are, allowing each of us our journey to let go of that control. This is going to be the thing that takes you out of that wheel of control. So what essential oil anchors this frequency? Who remembers what essential oil? Now this is geranium, and this is, the acceptance is sacred frankincense. How many of you save sacred frankincense for special occasions? How many of you use it every single day? I've decided that sacred frankincense, well, I do use it multiple times daily. One of the things I use it for is over my eyes, and isn't that an interesting thought? Because I use it, it's wonderful for skin, anti-aging. Who it would be happy about aging more gracefully? Well, the sacred frankincense has this beautiful frequency to allow us to accept ourselves, to stop with that guilt, to clear out the blocks, and to allow us to enjoy that present moment. So I found this fascinating too, because the crystal that anchors the frequency of acceptance is hematite. It is a metal. It is hematite. And it's kind of a heavy, it's actually, as I said, it's actually a metal, but it is considered also a crystal, and the frequency. And I'm lucky. I have a lot of rhodochrosite, which is very, very difficult to find. The crystal that anchors the first glyph, the forgiveness, the unblocking. This is just one that I've had for about 15 or 16, 17 years. And it's interesting because most of the rhodochrosite, the only rhodochrosite that I have ever seen that is only rhodochrosite that has no hematite running through it. It's just tiny little fragments, little tumblestones. Most rhodochrosite, when you see it, has this hematite, which to me is like it just goes together. Let's clear out the blocks and let's accept. Accept what is, accept what has been, and embrace where we are in this present moment. Let's make this present moment the highest, the very highest frequency that we can, so that as we are experiencing each present moment, we can climb higher up into that star energy, leaving all of this coarse stuff behind us. And of course, I think of highest potential there, because highest potential, of course, always reminds me of Gary Young. It also reminds me that in every moment, our potential may be different. However, to intend, to persevere, to become our highest, to reach our highest potential in every moment will allow us to be in that upper level rather than down with the coarse, crawling in the mud. So if you have that highest potential, that may be what you choose, what brings it together for you. So many things, little triggers for me. I find that it's important for me to find the right trigger that will make me sit up and pay attention. It's not about what works for someone else. It's about what will work for me at that particular time, in that particular moment. And it may change because we're kinetic. We're not static beings, and our attention moves around. So what captures your attention in any moment is critical to where you're going, to your enjoyment of that moment, which will then set you up for enjoying and experiencing to the fullest the next moment. Would you agree? So as you're going through this week, I challenge you to really pay attention. Are you letting external stimuli stagnate, clog up your system? Are you allowing it to just flow right on through, digesting or processing? I like the word processing. However, I'm using that imagery of digesting and digesting out, eliminating what really isn't important for you at this time. So have a happy week. We have a really beautiful new moon coming either Monday or Tuesday, depending upon your time zone. And I never spent much time thinking about really the cycles, the moon cycles. I did a little bit of attention to them, but until I moved to Bali. And in Bali, everything is celebrated. And every new moon, every full moon is celebrated and focused upon. So we have this beautiful new moon, which is that moon of creativity, of starting with Teja used to refer to it to me, instead of Tilum, he said dead moon. It's the black, the no moon, the no light in there. Well, that's not a void. That is full of potential. It just hasn't happened yet. And we can fill that that space, that void, with the unlimited possibilities according to where we choose to place our focus, what we choose to do with the frequencies around us, how we choose to enhance our frequencies. So as you go through this week, I just challenge you to pay attention again to which external stimuli are you allowing to process and eliminate, get rid of, and which ones are you holding on that may be dragging you down. And I hope that you have a beautiful week of a lot of self-discovery and having fun, to experience joy in every moment. And I'll see you next week.